stop scrolling for just 1 second. I want you to close your eyes and imagine the perfect motorcycle. I don't mean the fastest motorcycle, or the one with the biggest TFT screen, or the one with 200 horsepower that you can't even use on the street. I mean the machine that made you fall in love with riding in the first place. Imagine the smell of hot oil, the ticking of cooling fins, the mechanical clunk of a gearbox that feels like it was forged in a blacksmith shop, and a design that doesn't look like an angry insect. For years, we have been told that to get modern reliability, we have to sacrifice that vintage soul. We were told that the air-cooled Boxer was dead, killed by emissions laws and the pursuit of endless horsepower. Well, I am here to tell you that we were lied to. Everything you thought you knew about the trajectory of modern motorcycling is about to shift. BMW has done the unthinkable. They haven't just released a new bike, they have resurrected a ghost. They went into the archives, dusted off the blueprints from the 1970s, and infused them with 2026 technology in a way that is so seamless, it feels like magic. Today, we aren't just reviewing a motorcycle, we are reviewing a time machine. This is the 2026 BMW R60, and stick around, because there is a secret hidden inside this engine casing, a feature that no other manufacturer has dared to build, that I'm going to reveal later in this video. It is going to change how you think about retro forever. The legacy, why the R60 matters. To understand why this bike is such a massive deal, we have to look at the landscape of the current market. Right now, if you want a middleweight retro bike, you are looking at a Triumph Bonneville, a Royal Enfield Interceptor, or maybe a Moto Guzzi V7. They are all fantastic machines, but BMW has been conspicuously absent from this specific weight class. Sure, we have the R90, but that is a 1200cc beast. We have the R18, which is a massive cruiser. But for decades, the heart of BMW was the 600cc to 800cc class, the /5 and /6 models that traveled the world. The 2026 R60 is the spiritual successor to those legendary workhorses. BMW calls it the return of essentialism. They stripped away the plastic, the unnecessary fairings, and the complicated radiator plumbing. This is a back-to-basics approach that prioritizes the connection between the rider's wrist and the rear wheel. It is designed for the rider who wants premium German engineering but doesn't want to wrestle with a 600-pound adventure bike just to get a cup of coffee. It is a motorcycle that fits into your life, rather than demanding your life revolves around it. The engineering, the new Air Smart Boxer. Now, let's get into the nuts and bolts, because this is where the 2026 R60 truly shines. The heart of this machine is an all-new 600cc Boxer twin engine. You might be asking, how did they get an air-cooled engine past the Euro 6 emission standards? This is where the genius comes in. It is technically an air-smart cooled engine. While it features those beautiful deep cooling fins that we all love, there is a precision oil cooling system integrated so subtly into the frame rails that you can't even see it. The engine pushes out a modest, yet spirited 58 horsepower and 48 pound-feet of torque. Now, keyboard warriors might say that's low, but they are missing the point. This engine is tuned for low RPM joy. The torque curve is practically a flat line from 2000 RPM all the way to the red line. It pulls with that signature Boxer surge, a tractor-like grunt that makes city riding absolute heaven. And yes, it has that characteristic torque rock. When you blip the throttle at a stoplight, the whole bike twists slightly to the right. It's a physical reminder that you are sitting on top of a longitudinal crankshaft, a living, breathing, mechanical animal, not a sterile electric appliance. Design philosophy, the art of restraint. Visually, the R60 is a masterclass in restraint. In an era where bikes are covered in jagged angles and neon graphics, the R60 is smooth, rounded, and elegant. The tank is a classic teardrop shape, holding 4.5 gallons of fuel, and on the Berlin edition, it comes with hand-painted double pinstripes. That is a lost art that BMW is bringing back to the assembly line. The fenders are real steel, not plastic. The headlight bucket is round and chrome, but housed inside is a state-of-the-art adaptive LED matrix, that illuminates corners as you lean. The ergonomics are what I call all-day neutral. You have a flat, bench-style seat that looks vintage, but is packed with high-density memory foam. The foot pegs are directly below you, and the wide, tubular handlebars reach back to meet your hands. You sit in the bike, not on it. The instrument cluster is a single analog speedometer, a needle, sweeping across a dial, but if you look closely, the black background is actually a ghost OLED screen. When the bike is off, it's just black glass. When you turn the key, your navigation, ride modes, and fuel gauge float ghost-like behind the analog needle. It is the perfect integration of tech that doesn't scream tech. The handling and ride quality. So how does it handle? In a word, intuitive. BMW has managed to keep the wet weight down to a remarkable 425 pounds. Because the Boxer engine carries its weight so low to the ground, the bike feels even lighter than that. You can flick it into corners with just a shift of your hips. The suspension setup features telescopic forks up front, wearing rubber gaiters, for that classic look. But inside, they are fully adjustable cartridge forks. The rear suspension uses a hidden monoshock, keeping the lines of the frame clean while absorbing modern potholes. But the biggest selling point for the touring crowd is the final drive. Unlike the Triumphs or Royal Enfields that use a chain, the R60 uses an exposed carbon shaft drive. That means no chain cleaning, no chain lube slinging everywhere, and no adjusting tension. It is a set-it-and-forget-it system that adds to the premium feel. The braking is handled by a single, massive 320mm disc up front with a Brembo radial caliper. It provides plenty of stopping power without overpowering the chassis, backed up by BMW's invisible cornering ABS Pro, which monitors your lean angle 100 times a second. The big surprise, the variable inertia system. I promised you a surprise, a feature that sets this bike apart from anything else on the market. We know that some riders love the slow-revving, heavy flywheel feel of old vintage bikes, that chug-chug-chug sensation. But other riders want a snappy, responsive engine that revs quickly for sportier riding. Usually, you have to choose one, or the other, based on the physical weight of the flywheel inside the engine. The 2026 BMW R60 introduces the world's first variable inertia flywheel system. This is not a digital trick, it is mechanical wizardry. By using a system of centrifugal weights that can be locked or unlocked via a solenoid, the bike can physically change the rotating mass of the engine. In heritage mode, the flywheel weights are extended, giving you that heavy, slow-revving, meditative momentum of a 1970s R65. It makes the bike impossible to stall and incredibly smooth on the highway. But switch it to dynamic mode, and the weights retract toward the center. Suddenly, the engine spins up fast, the throttle response becomes razor-sharp, and the bike transforms into a canyon carver. You are effectively getting two engines in one chassis. It is an engineering marvel that bridges 50 years of motorcycling history in a single switch. The verdict. The 2026 BMW R60 is more than just a motorcycle. It is a statement. It is a statement that says technology should serve the experience, not dominate it. It is for the rider who appreciates the ritual of riding, the sound, the feel, the mechanical connection. By combining the air-smart Boxer engine, the timeless design, and the revolutionary variable inertia flywheel, BMW has created a machine that appeals to the purist and the modernist alike. It is approachable enough for a beginner, yet sophisticated enough to keep an expert rider smiling for years. In a world that is rushing toward electric motors and silent transportation, the R60 is a defiant, beautiful celebration of internal combustion. It reminds us why we ride. It's not about the destination. It's about the heartbeat of the machine underneath you. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the future of retro motorcycling. We are incredibly excited to see this bike hit the showroom floors later this year. If you enjoyed this detailed review and want to stay updated on the latest rumors, releases, and reviews from the world of two wheels, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. This has been your host from Bike Updater Pro, signing off. Ride safe. Keep the rubber side down, and I will see you in the next video.